Everyone's coming in online today. After I guess we should start, yeah.
Yeah, we'll start on that.
Yeah, most are online. There are about 9 online.
So start.
Yeah, so this one you just have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that will be your PowerPoint. Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Oh yeah, this.
Hello, everyone. My name is Moon here, SD3 Q Medicine. So today I'm presenting for the syncope and then postmaker and related issues. If anything you want to ask, and you can raise hand in the group. I'll be presenting with like some indirect way as well. So okay. How can I do that?
Just click one.
Huh?
Just click.
Next.
Yeah, when you click, it will go to the next slide. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So,
Or click on the bottom. So, yeah, when you click anywhere there, it will go to the next one.
So, 18 years old are male, presented with loss of consciousness for 30 seconds. So, what are your differential diagnosis and what investigation you are thinking about? Just one or two?
Yeah, cardiac.
Yeah, cardiac. Then? Seizure. Okay.
Stroke.
Yeah, stroke. Okay, what investigation you are thinking for?
CT head.
Okay.
ECG.
ECG. Yeah. Then?
Telemetry.
Telemetry.
Blood.
And some bloods. Okay. So this is a ERC classification for the patient coming with loss of consciousness. Total, when you have a total loss of consciousness, so we make two groups, non-traumatic and traumatic. Okay, so non-traumatic we mainly are interested about. So in the non-traumatic group, so it's a syncope, either is a syncope or epilepsy or psychogenic or rare causes like Subclavian street syndrome and TRA and hemorrhage. So for that side, you will need a CT brain. Okay, and some are psychogenic. And some are syncope. So syncope includes reflex syncope, orthostatic hypotension. That's why you are doing the postural blood pressure, and cardiac syncope and epilepsy. So all these you have to consider. Okay, so not just like syncope. This is likely cardiac causes. And patients like loss of consciousness for 20 minutes, don't do any test, and then refer to cardiology or Q medicine. This is not appropriate, right? Yeah. So I have got some kind of referral sometimes. So then I focus on the cardiology. So for the cardiology syncope, that we are thinking about. So bradycardia, tachycardia, or structural heart disease. So if the patient has a aortic stenosis, then they will present with a syncope, right? Or MI. So MI is a little bit rare. And the other thing is that so pulmonary embolism also can present with a syncope. So we need to rule out all these as well in your investigation and history taking. So I start from there. So you ask for the ECG, right? So can someone interpret this ECG?
Bradycardia.
Yes, bradycardia.
The P waves don't look like they're corresponding, so it could be complete heart block.
Yeah, so this is a complete heart block. So normally sinus rhythm is every P wave is followed by the QRS, right? So in this ECG, this is P, so this is P, this is P, this is P. So P is going by its own rate and QRS is going by its own rate. So P and QRS is not association, so it's dissociated. So this is a complete heart block. Okay, so and next ECG. So goodness, how to see?
You can just click the next box there. That one, yeah.
Yeah. So okay, can someone interpret this ECG?
Rate about 100.
Yeah, rate 100.
That's small.
So anything you can see on ECG? This patient also presented with syncope. So what is the X6?
The what, sorry?
Is what X6 is it?
Axis
It's a left axis, right? So left axis, so one is up and then two AVF is down. So this is a left axis. And what is the PR interval like?
PR interval is prolonged.
Prolonged. So that is a we misnormally call is a trifascicular block. Okay. So this is a trifascicular block. So another patient, again, other ECG. So this is a syncope and ECG. What does the ECG show?
Drop beat there and
So RR interval is irregular. So PR interval is fixed, right? So PR interval fixed, PR interval fixed. So P follow one QRS, P follow one QRS, P follow one QRS, P follow one QRS. Here, P better, right? So PR interval is fixed. So what kind of heart block?
That's
second degree Mobius type 2. So this patient also can present with syncope. Yeah. So this is just about briefing about if you already know. Sorry about that. So this is a PR interval, fix, and then drop. Okay. This is a second degree heart block, Mobius type 2. So this is what Mobius type 2 and third degree heart block, how they are different. So P go by its own way, QRS also its own way. There is a dissociation. So this is a so 3:1, or we call it complete heart block. Okay. So this patient also, another patient present with syncope. What do you see?
sinus pause.
Yeah, so sinus pause. So sinus pause is quite long. Yeah. So sinus pause longer than 3 seconds is significant. Okay, in the daytime. In the nighttime, it's different. It's more than 6 seconds, then we will think about this is significant. But again, if it is a pause, if it is an AF, about 3 seconds it's fine, but about 4 to 5 seconds, then if it is an AF pause, about 4 and 5 seconds, then this we can call it significant. Okay. So okay. So how about this ECG? Again, also 4 and syncope. Patient is known to have an AF or beta blocker. What do you see? Yeah. So what's the heart rate? It's slightly bradycardia. What's there's a RBBB, right? RBBB. Where's the P wave? We cannot see any P wave. So only but RR in the R interval is regular. So what do you call this one? Junctional brady. So junctional brady means so RR interval is regular, but there is no P wave. Okay, there is no P wave. So let's say if the R interval is regular at some point, but sometimes it's irregular because patient has an AF. Sometimes R interval become regular, sometimes irregular. So if it's alternating, then we call it junctional escape. If there is no P, but R interval regular, it means junctional escape. But if it is continuously, then we call it junctional bradycardia. Okay. So what I want to remind is, so if the patient they have an AF, if they are on the arrhythmia, if they have a fall, remind to see the ECG whether RR interval become very regular. It means that P and R normal correlation. Okay. If the patient is AF, they still have a P wave, but their P wave is very small and fibrillating, but still conducting to the AV node. Okay. If there is a connection, whatever fibrillation and the ventricular follow, then the patient will get AF with RVR, rapid ventricular rate. Okay. But if there is problem in AV node, whatever atrium beat, but ventricle will not follow because there is no connection. In that case, the patient will, the heart rate become regular. Okay, don't ignore this RR regular. Oh, okay, the patient is AF, heart rate is okay. I'm happy with that. No, okay, this patient can get a complete heart block at any point of time because A and B no more connection. AB no already problem. Yeah, so this is also significant. Okay, so what investigation, what's for the strategy? Patient with the syncope. So initial evaluation is if it is a cardiac score likely or we have a significant problem found, then we straight away treat. Okay. If it is uncertain, then we have to go through a lot of tests. Okay. For initial will be from cardiology, so ECG or ECG monitoring or echocardiology, and we can do like EPS study, electrophysiology study, and other more and more complicated tests we do until we reach the diagnosis and until the patient is patient to offer some devices or something. Okay, so that's a flow for the investigation. So when we think that this ischemia, this arrhythmia is significant. So as I told you earlier, if it is a patient is symptomatic syncope, although sinus bradycardia, heart rate less than 40 is significant. Earlier ECG, I show sinus pauses more than 3 seconds. So this 3 seconds is important, okay? 2 seconds, don't get panic, okay? But 3 seconds is significant, yeah? But it should be in the awake time, okay? But in the night time, again, it may not be significant, okay? So, and Mobis type 2 will be significant, and a VT of approximate SVT, these are a significant causing for the syncope, so we need to evaluate further, yeah? Or the patient has a pacemaker or ICD malfunction causing pauses, then it's significant and we need to evaluate further. We cannot just simply discharge or we cannot like leave it alone and go home, cannot, okay? So what's the indication for pacemaker? So pacemaker is indication. I already show you all the ECG, like complete heart block, triventricular block, symptomatic triventricular block, and sinus pauses more than 3 seconds, yeah, and 2:1 block, and earlier the junctional bradycardia if the patient has the symptom, so they are indicator for the pacemaker, yeah. And then the other thing is patient has a AF, although they are not junctional brady, but they will need a lot of they have a like tachy and brady sometimes, then they will need a pacemaker, yeah. And but cardiac, that all you know, patient is not indicator for the patient with reversible causes. For example, like hyperkalemia, then you have to treat hyperkalemia. Don't rush for the pacemaker, yeah. So what does a pacemaker look like? So pacemaker, this is a battery and these are the wire. So today I'm just talking about the simple pacemaker. Okay. So we got this below is that usually is a VV lead and the top one is a right atrial lead. So this is also the battery. So this is a pacemaker battery with the lead. So this is a leadless pacemaker. We call it Micra. Okay, this pacemaker has only V function. There is no RA function. So this is how it's a cartoon how the pacemaker go in. So pacemaker and then we go through the vein. And one in the atria, one in the ventricle, right ventricle. Okay, so when we go the right ventricle, so there's many positions. This is the apical position. So sometimes we can position around here, along the septum. Okay, so it could be many positions. So how it looks like on the chest X-ray. So it may be very simple, but quite important to know. Later you will know why it is important to know. So this is a pacemaker. So you will see some wire around. Okay. Then this is the A lead. Okay. So the A lead should be like that. Okay. So when you see the X-ray, so sometimes the nurse will ask you, look at the X-ray, and this patient is for home, doctor, okay or not. So you just don't look at the patient pneumothorax. You have to look for the lead position. Okay, so these are the normal lead position for the pacemaker. Yeah. So, okay, what is that? So this is a ECG. One is a pacing. So what do you see on ECG? Can you interpret this ECG? Is it pacing? What is the QRS like? It's broad. And then what kind of QRS? It is a what kind of broad? It is a right pattern or left pattern?
Right. No, left.
It is left ventral branch block.
Yeah.
So do you see there the pacing spike as well? So remember so I'm just talking about the RV lead. I'm not talking about the CRDD. Okay. For the patient with the RV lead position, so your ECG should be LBBB type of pacing. Okay. Why? So in the normal body, so the normal SA node and AV node, and then bundle hits, and then go down left bundle, right bundle. In normal, left bundle and right bundle go together. So that's why it's synchronized, so your QRS is narrow, okay? But when you put the pacemaker, so normal system work first, okay? So that's why all the electrical thing go to the left first, and then the artificial one come late, okay? So that's one go to the right later. So that's why your is left bundle branch block, okay? This is very important. So I'll tell you in a minute why it is important. So these are the pacemaker coding, okay? So you always say, oh, DDR, what are these? Okay, so you have to know, okay? So first D is a chamber, okay? If you have a 2 wire, this is mean dual, okay? Dual chamber pacemaker. If you have a 1 wire, this is a single chamber pacemaker. So the next one is sensing. So sensing means pacemaker is seeing the own heart rhythm and own ECG. So the native, what we call it in our term, is called intrinsic rhythm. Okay, original rhythm, how much they will see, how much they won't see. This is called sensing. If they sense both chamber, is D. Okay, another D is another coding is how to respond. When the heart rate is low, what are you going to do? When the heart rate high, what are you going to do? So these are another code. Okay. So next one is so mainly for modulation. Let's say for exercise. So patients, they are young, they want to do exercise. So normally we set the pacemaker maximum heart rate 130. But some people, they want to run. So if they want run, they want more heart rate. In that case, we set more higher heart rate. Okay. So this is a modulation. The other one is mainly for CRT. So this is important. So why I say so? So, okay. So this is what do you think from this ECG? It is a single chamber or dual chamber? First thing, it is pacing or it is a original thing? Is this an intrinsic or original? Pacing. So pacing, okay. So it's a left bundle. So where's your lead? On the RV, right? Yeah. And then how many spikes do you see? One. So here are arrow, 2 arrow. So the PRP is a little bit small. So this is a dual chamber. Okay. So dual chamber pacemaker. So they are sensing. So dual sensing. Yeah. So this is the thing. So another, I just want to very briefly about the sensing. So sensing, so this is the original. So this is assumed as the three are like intrinsic one. So the fans are like pacemaker function. So pacemaker, if they want to see more, they will reduce their sensitivity. If they want to see less, they will increase their sensitivity. Okay, that's also really important. So I will tell in a minute. So this is again, so for example, in the ECG, so we have a QRS, we have a P wave, we have a T wave, okay? So pacemaker, we don't want to see P wave and T wave too much. Mainly, we don't want to see P wave, D wave. Because if we see the D wave, the pacemaker may see the heart has its own rhythm, so I no need to work. So for the pacemaker, if they see abnormality in the body, then they will do. If they don't see, then they don't do. So that's why this seeing is very important. They have to see appropriately. If they want to see T, they should be T. If they cannot misinterpret. So that's why we have to set the sensing. Okay, so next one. So that, okay, so we, as an indication, patient come with syncope, patient has one of the previous ECG, then you request for pacemaker. So patient has an implanted pacemaker already. And then after 2 hours later, the CCU nurse call you, you are there, SHO in the work, your register is busy, you see the patient is unwell. Okay, so what are you looking at? Unwell. So patient is unwell. So what are you assessing, like ABCD approach?
Yeah.
Yeah. So and then the next step, what are you looking to see, to look at? ECG and anything else? Off then. What else you want to ask for? You have to look at the pacemaker side, right?
Yeah.
And you have to look at the chest X-ray. These are the basics you have to look at. Okay, you cannot just call the register. Yeah. So you have to see this one. So so these are the coding. So okay, this is the chest X-ray. So what do you see?
It looks like it's in position.
Yeah, so I already told you what's the normal pacemaker leads like in the normal chest X-ray. What do you think the leads are? Are they in position or something wrong?
Maybe the atrial lead looks a bit low, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, and then how about the RV? RV loops also? So RV lead.
In the diaphragm.
No, so RV leads also in position. RA loop also in position. This is what I, because it's a little bit down in the septangle. So this is normal. In a minute, I will show how it looks like if the dislodged one. Okay, and then what else you see? The next step you are looking for? Pneumothorax. Does this patient have pneumothorax?
Yeah, the left.
Yeah, so that side there is a pneumothorax, right? This is a collapsed lung, so pneumothorax. So that's, yeah. So this is my image is very small for you, or?
Yeah. No, it's okay here on the phone, but there.
Okay. So there's a left side there pneumothorax, right? So this is really important. So this is 2 centimeter more than. So if the patient stable, you have to activate for pneumothorax drain. Yeah, just to insertion. So why pneumothorax is happening in the pacemaker? Okay, so when we do the procedure, pacemaker, what we do is that we put the wire into the vein, then go to the heart. I show you in the cartoon earlier. So we got three mainly vein we consider. So this is a venogram. So this is a axillary vein. This is a cephalic vein. This is a subclavian vein. So operator put either one of these veins. Okay. So important thing to know is this is a thorax. Okay. This is a chest. So this axillary and cephalic and axillary are outside the thoracic cavity. Okay. So this is inside the thoracic cavity. So pneumothorax, which one is high chance to get the pneumothorax?
Inside the cavity.
Subclavian. So that's why nowadays people don't rarely do the subclavian. Subclavian problem is subclavian is directly under the bone. So if the patient fall or something, if the patient broke the bone and then below directly pacemaker wire running, and then the bone will break the wire, a lot of problem happening, right? So that's why for that sense, nowadays we put the wire either cephalic or axillary, okay? But even still, cephalic is very less likely chance to get the pneumothorax. Axillary, if you put the needle beyond that, you will get the pneumothorax. But subclavian is very high risk. So so only the very good hand or many experience, even the good hand, if you have to puncture many times, pneumothorax. So that's why you have to look for the chest X-ray if the patient unwell after the pacemaker. Yeah. So this is just an anatomy. See again. So this very clearly, these two veins are outside the thorax, thoracic cavity. This one is inside the cavity. Yeah. So next one. So you look at the So next one, the patient, you look at the chest X-ray. This is a during the this is a before pacemaker. This is a after the pacemaker. What do you see? What's the difference? Patient and well.
The heart was much bigger.
So what are pericardial effusion? Yeah. So this is a pericardial effusion. Pericardial effusion is one of the complication also. This is the chest X-ray side, definitely it's bigger. So you cannot just, cannot monitor IV fluid, no. Okay, you have to call and then ask for the and then pray. Yeah. Okay. So next patient is a so you see this patient in the ambulatory care or in a A&E, so they refer you, this patient has a pacemaker, so swelling over that. So what could it be? So yeah, could be infection, hematoma. So hematoma is another complication. And then A&E say, oh, this one is very big, and then I cannot tolerate, and then cardiology cannot contact overnight, and then it's holiday time, it's very big one. So A&E say, can we suck out, take the reduce the hematoma and release the pressure? Will you do that or? It's very big. So sometimes A&E asks, seriously. So when you have to see this patient, never ever touch, okay, or put the needle in, okay, never ever do, okay. Why I say, yeah, so why I say so, only refer the patient to the cardiology, okay, they will deal with. Just leave it alone. Hematoma monitor wherever if the patient hemodynamically unstable, we have to wound deferment, but this one stay under cardiology, okay. Why? So if this is I don't have a good photo. So this is if you open the wound, this is what pacemaker like inside. Okay. So if you put the needle in, you have put needle where puncture the lead inside. Okay. If you puncture the lead inside, lead insulator, everything will gone. So you are sensing and puncture pacing, everything function will be affected. Okay. So that's why never ever puncture or aspirate if they come in with hematoma or abscess or whatever. Yeah. Okay. So next patient. Oh, sorry. So okay. So you look at this ECG, pacemaker patient, pacing. So what's the ECG show? There. Right bundle branch block. Okay. So right bundle branch block patient is a 2-wire. So what we see in the normal pacemaker, what is the ECG like? LVVB. So this means that where is your wire? Yeah. So wire could be in the lab. Yeah. So yeah. So puncture. Okay. So then you do the X-ray. So never ever keep quiet. But I say only for the 2-wire pacemaker, not for the ICD. So CRDD. CRDD may be different. Okay. So today I'm talking about only simple pacemaker. So this one RBBB. So if you see this RBBB, never leave alone. Okay. You have to talk to cardiology registrar. Okay. So something wrong. So the next step you have to do the chest X-ray. Okay. What is the chest X-ray like? So your chest X-ray, your wire is going through. It happened. Okay. So what happened was that this wire, come out, and then patient even come out from the blood, and patient is a pneumothorax, hydropneumothorax, and then also pericardial effusion. A lot of things happen, and then so people don't know this wire is coming out, so they just drain it. So I have seen one patient. So after the pacemaker, 2 days later, patient had a hydropneumothorax, and then they drain. Okay, the hydropneumothorax is better, but patient have dizziness because patient pacing the wire, everything is messed up. So you have to look at the ECG as well. Don't like okay, this is a pneumothorax from the pacemaker puncturing. I just drain finish. No. Okay, so you have to look at the ECG as well. Yeah. So okay, so this patient drain out, and then you look at the ECG. So in one patient, ECG like that. So what did you see? What do you see? Yeah, so pacemaker, so here every pacing spike should be QRS or should be wave capturing. What we call is capturing. So after the spike, you have this wave, okay? It means that you have an affected output and then affected contraction, heart contraction. But over here, this is an intrinsic rhythm, okay? But this is a P wave, spike, but this is another spike. Where is your another QRS? There is no QRS, right? So this is a intermittent capturing problem. Yeah. So it means that your wire is not in place enough. Okay, so the patient will get, symptoms like dizziness. If the patient comes with a syncope, then patient will get another syncope. So that's really important. If the patient are on device, you have to check the device again. Yeah. So how's the ECG look like? So this is a chest X-ray. What do you see for this patient non-capturing? What do you see? Where are the, I told you where the normal wire should be in this patient. Where is the wire? It's a little bit blurred, sorry about that. So the wire is here, right? Yeah. Here. So supposed to be farther about this place, right? I told you what's on normal pacemaker wire should be, but this one going up. So that's why you got, pacing is intermittently capturing, intermittently lost. Okay. This is not normal. Yeah. So for this patient, call cardiology and then reposition pacemaker. See, so you may see a little bit quiet over here. So, sorry, can see? Yeah. So you may, sorry. So you may see quiet over here. If it is quite a lot here, it's mean called Treadler syndrome. Okay. Treadler syndrome means patient and how to say, unconsciously twisting. Okay, so sometimes they may feel itchiness in the area, or sometimes they just twitching, and then if their muscle is a little bit weak, or if they have a lot skin weakness, so they just twisting, and then the wire comes up. Okay, so this is called Treadler syndrome. Okay, for this Treadler syndrome, to avoid that, normally we put the pacemaker above the pectoral minor muscle, not in the pectoral major muscle. So we put that. So, but if the pectoral minor muscle is so thin, if the patient has a very skinny, if it is less, then they can do Treadler, right? So to prevent that, we bury the battery in the muscle, yeah, in the pectoral major muscle. But not very good thing is in the pectoral major muscle, what happens is if the patient pays sometimes the battery buried in the muscle and the patient will get muscle twitching. So that's why normally we don't do in very deep muscle pacing battery, just a bit pectoral minor. Yeah, but if the patient a lot Treadler syndrome, if the patient need pacemaker, definitely then we have to go and try to avoid this kind of also twitching. So if we put a lot voltage pacing, then patient will get twitching. Yeah, so we have to set the pacemaker program again. Yeah, so so next thing is so the last slide. So what is this one? Yeah, so this is again, I want to show is a normal ECG, normal pacemaker, and it's a RV pacing, right? LBBB and RV pacing. So what I want to highlight again here is patient have a fracture earlier. I tell you, patient have a fracture or patient going for procedure diathermy related. So patient going for diathermy procedure or MRI. So you have to program pacemaker. So why? So when you do diathermy got like this thing. So this will be seen as a wave. Okay, wave, and then the pacemaker see, oh, there is a wave. The heart is working, so I will not work. So then the pacemaker will under pace. Okay. So if patient under pace, if the patient is pacemaker dependent, if the pacemaker not pacing, then patient will get syncope or die, right? So another thing is patient going for MRI. So if the patient going for MRI, if they have a pacemaker, you have to program. If you don't program, MRI wave, and then also pacemaker see, oh, something wave from the heart, I will not do, or the heart is working, I will not do. Yeah, so that's because earlier I mentioned the pacemaker is sensing. Yeah, pacemaker is sensing every week, every wave. Let me go back to that sensing again. So this one. So pacemaker is sensing even the small one. Small one pacemaker is sensing everything. And then, oh, the heart is working, I will rest. The heart is working, I will rest. Actually, the waves are coming from your MRI or coming from your diathermy. Actually, not coming from the heart. So that's why in this scenario, we have to program. How you will program? Magnet, or you off all these. Okay, you just on this. Okay, you don't want to see whatever normal or not. You don't want to see. You don't want to respond. Whether if it is very low, you will increase the rate. You don't want to do everything. So everything off. You just leave alone pacing. So then you program the heart. Okay, whatever your heart analyzing, I will ask you to beat 50 or 60. So you have to beat with that. Yes, how to say, just whatever program beat, and then that will avoid this over sensing, the sensing and under pacing. So what you see, if you sense a lot, if you see a lot, you will not pace. This is called under sensing, under pacing, right? So that's why you program. So this is really important. If your patient is going for MRI, if the patient has a pacemaker, you have to refer to cardiology to program VOO. Okay? Or patient going for surgery, remember, so you have to refer cardiology to reprogram the VOO entry, and then they will come and program, or they will put the magnet. And but let's say if the emergency procedure, there is no technician in the district hospital, what you could do is you can put the magnet. So if the magnet put on, magnet function is they will not see, they will not do anything, they just pace. They will, let's say if the pacemaker is program for 50, the highest rate program, then patient pacemaker will go this rate. Okay, so and then earlier I told you about this patient. This one I told you that the clavicle. The clavicle, if you put the wire from here down, if the patient have a, let's say patient is an alcoholic, patient had a fall, and then if you break the bone, and then if you hit the wire here, then wire will break. If wire break, also what we call is the noise. Okay, the wire breaking, and then pacemaker come with a lot noise and a small wave. And then if this small wave also pacemaker will see as something going on, then they will malfunction. So that's why these days we try to avoid pacing or putting the wire from the subclavian. We put the wire from here. Okay. So I think this is only for the simple pacemaker and what medical people need to know. Is there any questions or anything you want to ask? Is it too much or is too little, or you already know?
Oh, it's good. It's great. Yeah.
Okay. Any questions?
X-rays all this time without knowing that.
Yeah. Yeah. So every time, so I in previous last time, what we found was patient the SHO were asked to review their chest X-ray post pacemaker. So as usual, just see the pneumothorax, no pneumothorax discharge. Okay, and then patient went home. One day later, patient came in with dizziness and syncope, because upon discharge at that time, patient pacemaker already dislodged. It was already dislodged, but no one see, and then come back on that day, chest X-ray already so bad, and then because they don't know which one to look at. Yeah. Only look at the pneumothorax. We teach that we are taught to look at pneumothorax. We are not taught how to look at the wire. Yeah. So wire, looking at the wire, all three things only: wire, ECG, and pneumothorax. Okay, ECG, remember, 2-chamber is a LBBB. Yeah, if it is a 3-chamber, normally it's a normal QRS. Okay, or maybe RBBB. So because we put the wire to the left side as well. If it is the left side, if we put the left side one wire, right side one wire, they become synchronized. If it is synchronized, your QRS becomes narrow. So that's why the CRTD ECG is different. But for antebuban otherwise, we put the right side, always put on the right side, so it should be LBBB.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah, if it is RBBB, something wrong. Yeah? So any questions? Anyone from the Microsoft? Anyone? Do they hear? Or any questions? Sorry. So, Movies title. Oh, okay, they are answering. Thank you. Sorry, we missed out your answer. Your answer are great. Correct.
Correct.
Yeah. So,
Guys, anybody else have any questions?
okay.
Anyone?
Okay. Thank
No
you.
questions? Okay. Great. Thank you, Paul.
Okay, and then I will stop here. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you for
good.
attending. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, everything. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's half Conquest and then half Eastbourne. So we
Ah.
have some like Karen is there and
Okay.
Noor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's some of
Yeah.
most actually a lot from
Okay.
Conquest today.
Yeah. Okay.
That's good. That's good. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.